In this lesson, we are going to learn how to solve radical equations. You'll notice this problem says the cubed root of x minus 3 equals 3. The first thing we want to do is get the cubed root by itself on one side. This one's set up that way, so we're good to go. I'm going to then, the opposite of cube rooting something would be to cube it. So when I take the cubed root of, let's say, 27, and I cube it, these two things cancel each other out. To show how that works, let's actually do the cubed root of 27. The cubed root of 27 would be 3, and then 3 cubed is 27. So you can see how these properties, how cube rooting and cubing undo each other. They're additive inverses. So when I cube one side of the equation, I have to cube the other. So here cubing is going to eliminate, those are inverses, so they're gone. I'd have x minus 3 equals whatever 3 cubed is, which we should know is 27. Then to solve for x, I add 3 to both sides. I get x to be 30. Now, what they mean by check for extraneous solutions, looking back at my original problem, I have to actually make sure that this answer checks. An extraneous solution would be something that appears to work. We do all our work right, that we don't make any mistakes, and we get an answer and think, yep, we're good to go. The problem is if you plug that answer back into the original problem, it does not give us a true statement. So I'm going to try and plug 30 back into this problem. And you really don't have to show a lot of work for this. You could do this orally or in your head. 30 minus 3 would be 27. Is the cubed root of 27 3? It is. So my answer checks. And I'm done. Number 2 then, you'll notice that on the left side my square root is not by itself, and I need it to be by itself in order for me to continue. So I'm going to minus 9 from both sides. I would have the square root of x minus 8 equals negative 1. To get rid of a square root, I would square both sides. So I have x minus 8 equals negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. So I add add 8 to both sides. I would get x to be 9. Now before I do anything else, I'm going to plug a 9 in for where this x is. So I would have 9 minus 8, which is 1, square root of 1, 1, plus 9 equals 8. Does 1 plus 9 equal 8? No. 10 does not equal 8. So here's an example of an extraneous solution. My answer then, since the one answer I got does not work, my answer is no solution. I can't find a number that would make this problem true, this equation be a true statement. Number 3, I'm going to start right away by squaring both sides because my radical is by itself. So I would have x plus 4 equals 36. I minus 4 from both sides, so x equals 32. Before I box that in, I'm going to go ahead and put a 32 right here. 32 plus 4 is 36. The square root of 36, does that equal negative 6? 6 is the square root of 36 because I'm not actually solving to take the square root, I'm taking the principal. So I'm going to end up with 6 equals negative 6. You're going to see that a lot in these when you have extraneous solutions. That doesn't check. And here's one of the things I can look at in my original problem to kind of be hinted at that this might be an extraneous solution. The square root of something equaling a negative. When we're talking only in principal square roots here, that's not going to happen for me. So again, another extraneous solution. You really have to check these because if I've already done 2 out of 3 as extraneous, they probably have quite a few that pop up. Last one we're going to do is when you have a square root on both sides. So since the square roots are by themselves, I'm going to square each side of the equation. What's kind of cool here is this cancels this out. So I'd have 6x minus 4. And then this square root cancels out that squared, so I have 5x plus 2. And from here, this is a very basic algebra problem for us. So I get my x's on one side, numbers on the other, and I find x to be 6. Now, just because it was an easier one, I still have to check my answers. So I'm going to plug a 6 in for x. 6 times 6 is 36, minus 4 would be the square root of 32. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 2, square root of 32. I don't have to actually break these down or anything because I can see right now that they'd be the same number. So this one does check.